Hey, good morning, Facebook, and I hope you're doing well on this beautiful morning. Last night I woke up to the thunder and the rain at my house, and yet today I'm sitting outside, and there's some clouds in the sky, but it is a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank the Lord for the beautiful day He has created, and I'm thankful for the new mercies that God gives us every single day. And thank you for watching. And I hope this will be a good challenge to you this morning, some good thoughts. And so last Friday, I put a post on Facebook about what's our favorite verse. And Pastor last Saturday put his favorite verse, and he mentioned Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And that is one of my verses that I have claimed many times throughout my life. But that's not the verse I'm going to share today. But there's two really verses that I claim, that I think about a lot. And one I call my life verse, and that would be Philippians 3:8. But that's not the verse I'm going to talk about. My favorite verse, and I'll share why it's probably my favorite verse, and a verse that means a lot to me, is Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 32. And Ephesians 4:32 says, "And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you." And as a child growing up, I had a Sunday school teacher, I think at the first church I went to, gave me a picture frame, and inside that picture frame was that verse. And I remember it was blue in color, and I'm sure my mom somewhere in photo albums or some album my mom made me probably has that page. I remember as a kid I threw out one of those Beanie Babies at it, and I accidentally broke the glass on that picture frame. But that was my verse growing up. Like, that was the verse above my bed that I memorized, that I thought about, that meant a lot to me. And I've always kind of claimed that as my favorite verse. And I already quoted it for you, but it's, "And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you." And this verse has meant a lot to me. And Paul is writing to believers. He's writing to saved individuals. And he's here sharing practical Christian living topics. And he goes on to say at the end of this verse, he says, "And be ye kind." That word kind has the meaning of a usefulness, a graciousness, a kind, or a caring. And Paul's saying, be ye kind and gracious to people. Don't be snobbish. Don't be stuck up. Don't only think about yourself. Care about others. He then goes on to say, tender-hearted. That bears the meaning of compassionate or sympathetic for people. And I can find myself, and I catch myself being unsympathetic to people oftentimes. And I got to work on that in my own life. And this verse, we need to be compassionate, think about others and care about others and pray for others. And then he says, forgiving one another. And that means to deliver, to forgive, or to grant. And that's what we're called to do as Christians, forgive other people. And people are going to offend us. People are going to do things that hurt us, and yet we're called to be kind, tender-hearted, forgiving. And then there's the why. Why do we need to do these things? And that's because God has forgiven us. He says at the end of the verse, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. God forgave us in our sin. And our sin is so against the nature of God, yet He chooses to forgive us when we come to Him for forgiveness. And for that, the simplest thing, the best thing we can do is forgive other people and to be kind to them, to be compassionate, forgiving. And so that's my life verse, or my favorite verse. My favorite verse, Ephesians 4:32. And as a kid, there was a song we used to sing, and it went like this: "And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ hath forgiven you." Ephesians 4:32. So I hope you think about this verse today, Ephesians 4:32. Meditate on it, dwell upon it, and allow God to change your life through His Word. And that's our light for the day. Take care, everyone. And Pastor will have light for the day on Thursday at 9:30. See you then.